Hello, everybody. I'm Chandler,
And I'm Celeste.
and this is
True North Terror. And it is early in the morning, and we may never do this ever again.
Good morning. Let's clarify. It's early in the morning after I spent the week working nights.
It's early in the morning, and I have 2 small children.
It's brutal. I don't know why we thought this was a great idea. We're like,
because we
this
have
is
5
going to work.
episodes.
This is going to work so well. No.
We're doing a little bonus episode. There's quite the situation unfolding here in Winnipeg right now. So there's a serial killer who was just released after serving not his sentence.
Yeah.
And his name is Sean Lamb. He's responsible for sure 2 murders of 2 Indigenous women and probably a third, but her body has never been found. But she went missing from the same area in the same time frame. So yeah, it's just going to be like a quick little mini episode, I think, but I wanted to share the story because it was hard for me to find kind of like one put together story about everything that's happened. And I have a lot of information on one of the victims because her mom has given a pretty extensive interview, but the other 2 I don't have as much information. That's not for lack of trying. They're all important women, but there's just a lot more on one of them. So we are going to start with her. So we are going to start with Lorna Blacksmith. She was an 18-year-old Indigenous woman from the Cross Lake First Nation that was living in Winnipeg, attending Gordon Bell High School. She actually attempted to drop out, but her mom was like, I just bought you this car and you can only buy it if you stay in school.
Right.
So she's like, okay, I guess I'm going back to school. She was described by her aunt and mother as an amazing, upbeat, caring, and beautiful young woman. She was ambitious and she had goals with so much life to live. She did well in school and planned on pursuing a career in nursing. She was an active member of cadets, even going to the Yukon to do some training. She was the oldest of 5 children and had a very close relationship with her mother as she became older. On January 11th, 2012, her mother, Lita, dropped her off at a house in Winnipeg's West End, and that was the last time she saw her alive. It was a typical January day in Winnipeg, minus 22 and snowing. Lorna was dressed in red and wore dangling earrings with a small metal feather hanging in the middle of the hoops. When Lita dropped her daughter off at the house on Toronto Street, she knew what kind of life she was living. This was a well-known drug dealer's home, but despite all of Lorna's struggles, Lita still loved her endlessly. Lorna had a tumultuous childhood of being bounced from home to home and some time in foster care as a teenager. Her family struggled to deal with her drinking and her temper. And since she had younger siblings, it just wasn't like her family worried about her influence on her younger siblings.
Right.
She's another story of generational trauma. Her mother, Lita, was also in foster care system after her own mother left her at only 7 years old due to an alcohol addiction. Lita moved between 15 foster homes and started drinking and running away at only 12 after being sexually abused. Her one wish was to give Lorna a better life and to encourage her down a different path. In the summer of 2010, she decided to keep that promise by moving her family from their home reserve to Winnipeg, hoping to give everyone more opportunities. Lorna left her family and started traveling around Manitoba with her then boyfriend, but soon called Lita asking for a bus ticket home. She missed her family, especially her younger siblings. Lita at first was a bit hesitant to buy her the ticket, worried that bringing her back to the city would bring alcohol and drugs back into the home, and she would have more opportunity to find it in Winnipeg. But she missed her daughter, and decided to bring her a ticket to come home. Before dropping her off on January 11th, Lorna told her mom this was it. This was her last night out drinking. She wanted to get clean, but she was never given the opportunity. Lita reflects on how her daughter always wore red, the color of the Indian posse gang, and wonders if her daughter was a member. The house on Toronto Street was a typical hangout spot for Lorna, only about 7 blocks from her mom's apartment. And the last message Lita ever received from Lorna was, "Mom, where are you?" But it was from a number Lita did not recognize. Lorna was last seen on January 11th, 2012, but her body was not discovered until June of 2012 in a backyard. On January 9th, Lorna would post her last social media post on Facebook that simply said, "Postin' in the West Side." According to Sean, 2 days later, on January 11th, the last day she was seen, Sean purchased 6 pieces of crack cocaine, and the two of them smoked the drugs together in his apartment. According to Sean, when they were done with the drugs, she wanted more and offered to call up her dealer to have them delivered. He claims he grabbed the phone from Lorna saying he wanted to purchase them on his own. This ended up somehow turning into a heated argument, and Sean threw Lorna to the floor and began strangling her with a TV cord. He then just left her body, purchased more drugs, which he immediately used, and later removed her clothing, folded her into the fetal position, tying her feet and hands together with a scarf.
Jesus.
Yeah. He wrapped her body in a plastic bag and dragged it down the apartment stairs. He carried it across a snowy back lane and dumped her body behind a garage at 797 Simcoe Street, which he could actually see from his apartment window. So, like, every day he could look out and just see her body wrapped out his window. He grabbed all of her belongings and just tossed them into a dumpster. Lita's mom reflects that she didn't really become suspicious of anything being wrong right away. It wasn't super unusual for Lorna to go a few days without contacting her family. She would be out partying and just would lose track of time. Around January 17th, so almost a week later, Lita became worried and went to the police to issue a missing persons report. The police did issue the report describing her as 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighing 110 pounds, gray/hazel eyes, wearing black pants, white hooded sweater, and red bomber-style jacket, and white boots. Lita started putting up posters on her own, but someone kept taking them down.
What an asshole.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Come on, Winnipeg, do better.
She went into 2 stores, and when Lita went to hang the posters, the people working were like, "Oh, someone came in and took them down because they said they found her body." And Lita's like, "Nope, no one found her body. Can you please keep this up?" And they're like, "Oh, geez, yeah, okay."
Jesus.
As each night came, Lita would load her toddler in the car and drive around the hotels where residents from Cross Lake would often stay when they came to Winnipeg for appointments. She was hoping that maybe Lorna hooked up with some friends from the reservation and had just lost track of time and wasn't getting back to her mom. When she would get near the Toronto Street area where she dropped off her daughter, she was starting to receive threats. They were like, "Don't you go bringing the police here. You have no business here. Get out of here." In June, Maureen, the neighbor of MT 797 Simcoe, sat on her swing in her backyard enjoying the warm summer weather. The house next door had been vacant for quite a while now and was often targeted for theft and vandalism. Maureen noticed a strange smell coming from next door, but she kept forgetting to call 311. One day she looked out her back window and she noticed a swarm of police with masks. The day was June 21st, and John had directed police to the body of Lorna. Lorna would later be identified through dental records and DNA because her body was so badly decomposed. But also in the autopsy file was no evidence of crack cocaine. So Sean's story maybe doesn't quite add up.
No.
Because he's like, "Yeah, we went back to my place, smoked some drugs together, and then I killed her." And they're like, "Yeah, but there's no drugs in her system." And her body was really badly decomposed, but they felt pretty confident to say that there was none in her system.
All right.
But Lorna actually wasn't Sean's first victim. He had already dumped another young woman just over 100 meters from his home. Carolyn Sinclair was an outgoing and lovable person with a larger than life personality who could always be seen smiling. I'm hoping that I say this right, but I probably won't. She was from the Matthias Colum Cree Nation. She was 25 years old and 5 months pregnant when she first met Sean on December 18th. He claims that they went to a known crack house on Beverly Street where he gave Carolyn $100 to purchase crack cocaine to take back to his apartment to smoke together. In Sean's version of events, Carolyn grabbed the last 2 rocks of crack cocaine from the table and locked herself in the bathroom where she began smoking them alone. This sent Sean into a blind rage. He pounded on the door with an axe handle. Carolyn opened the door and Sean started screaming at her. He struck Carolyn on the head with the handle of the axe and strangled her. He left her body on the bathroom floor for several days before dumping her naked body wrapped in plastic garbage bags in the back alley of 780 Notre Dame. On March 31st, police found her when they were told there was a suspicious package leaking blood. They were able to quickly identify her on April 2nd. Her autopsy determined that her cause of death was blunt force trauma, but she also had 11 lacerations to her face and scalp and a really substantial skull fracture.
Holy fuck.
Yes. Going back in time a bit, we're kind of working backwards.
Okay.
We're going to also mention the woman that Sean was suspected of murdering and initially charged with. Tania Nepinak was a 31-year-old mother and last seen leaving her Winnipeg home with $5 in hand on her way to a pizza restaurant only a few short blocks away. It was about 11 p.m. when she left her Sherbrooke Street home. The next morning, her auntie Sue Caribou received a worried phone call from Tania's mother saying that she did not come home. This was super unusual for Tania. She was super responsible and was not going to leave her family hanging like that. Alarm bells started going off immediately. Her mother had already called police, but she was told she had to wait 24 hours, but her auntie Sue knew they could not wait. She told her sister to find the biggest picture of Tania she had, and she would contact the media. Sue contacted the media, and by the next day, there were reporters and cameras at Tania's home interviewing her mom. Sue had very little faith in the police. She was going to do her own search. She had already lost several family members through murder, and she set off with her posters of Tania and started hanging them all over the area while searching. Sean was initially charged for the murder of Tania after being charged with Carolyn and Lorna, but the Crown determined there was simply not enough evidence to convict, but insisted the file would remain open. Tania's sister Gail has been extremely active and vocal, calling for a national inquiry into missing and murdered Aboriginal women. In December of 2013, she traveled to Ottawa to speak before a special committee. Tania is remembered as a bright woman who is close to her family and deeply loved. 14 years later, her family held a vigil to celebrate her 46th birthday. So, who the F is Sean Lamb?
Yeah, piece of shit.
So, I just had no idea how 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 crazy all of this was, and I don't think it gets discussed enough in the media. He had a really long rap sheet leading up to this. He should never have been on the streets when he did these murders,
No.
and he certainly should not be now.
No.
So, a bit about him. He was adopted at a very young age and raised by a white family in Barrie, Ontario. In the late 90s, he learned about his Indigenous heritage. His biological mother was an Ojibwe woman on a reserve near Sarnia, Ontario. He claimed he suffered abuse as a child from a distant relative. He ended up being married and having 2 children, both of who are estranged from him. Fair.
Yeah.
He has a very long list of criminal activity. Notably, he was previously arrested in Winnipeg on October 19th, 2002, when police attended a 911 call. which an officer heard a very loud argument and a woman in distress. When attempting to interview Sean, who was out on bail, he pushed an officer, causing him to fall through a glass tabletop. It's like, bro.
Come the fuck on.
While transporting him to be processed, he continued to be belligerent with police in the car, yelling, "You're a bunch of fucking idiots, you goose, you probably would arrest your own fucking mama. I'm going to kill you, Mr. 62," which I'm assuming is like the officer's badge number.
Probably.
It didn't really give
I'm trying to think of a reference that
I
would
know,
be
it didn't really give any, like, clarification.
to.
Yeah. On November
It's got to be his badge number. There's not like a war in Canada at that time.
No, like, there was no clarification, so
1818.
I'm assuming. On November 4th, 2002, Sean, who was 43 at the time, appeared in front of Judge Rubin in Winnipeg. The Crown listed off some of Lamb's prior convictions and breaches going back to the winter of 1985,
Wow.
when he spent a year in jail for assaulting and causing bodily harm, as well as 1 count of mischief. It also included 5 months in custody in 1987 for breaching probation. In 1992, he was sentenced to 4 years for sexual assault. He also had another parole violation in 1995, another 9 months in custody for assault, and he had other charges for forged documents, possessing goods, and failure to appear. In 2001, he was sentenced to 2 years for assault causing bodily harm, and 68 more days in the spring of 2002 for uttering threats. Before the Crown was even done reading off the history, the judge was like, "Okay, we get it. Like, he's not a good guy. We get it."
No, you don't get it because you keep letting the fucker out.
Yeah. So a bail was
What?
denied. Yes. Bail was denied, citing that he was obviously, like, he had serious problems with relationships and addictive substances and was a threat to the public. And he immediately became super angry and irate, yelling that it was fucking bullshit. It's like, you're just proving our point, sir.
Yeah, dude, come on.
Some more charges not even mentioned in court include other convictions in Alberta, BC, and Ontario. His first conviction goes back to Toronto on August 18th, 1976, when he was charged with attempted fraud when he was only 17. He was sentenced to 1 year's probation, which he broke 3 months later when he received charges for breaking and entering and theft. And then he was sentenced to 11 months. He had over 70 convictions over a 30-year period, serving federally and provincially. It was later theorized that he was potentially one of the children from the 60s scoop, where RCMP forcefully removed Indigenous children. He claims that his substance abuse started at the age of 9, and by the age of 10, he had already attempted suicide by taking an entire bottle of aspirin.
Jesus.
Very troubled person. At the time of the murders, he was living in an apartment on Notre Dame Avenue between Toronto and Simcoe Streets in Winnipeg's West End. And as we know, Winnipeg's West End does not have a very glowing reputation.
No.
If you take a drive in the area, you'll see tons of homelessness, sex workers, and drug use. His apartment is not secluded whatsoever. It's like literally on the corner of the street, but there is a back entrance from the parking lot to his apartment suite, and it's assumed that he brought people through there. In June of 2012, Sean was arrested on charges of sexual assault when he told police he had information on a body. So, like, this is how it all started.
Right.
He was arrested for sexual assault, and he was like, "BT dubs, I also have information on a body." But he didn't say, like, "I killed them."
Yeah.
He led them to the body of Lorna, and on November 13th, he ended up pleading guilty to 2 counts of manslaughter for Carolyn and Lorna.
Manslaughter.
And was never convicted of Tania. And her body has never been found. He was sentenced to 20 years. Manslaughter.
You've got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
Canadian fucking law system. Oh my god.
In early November, it was announced that Sean was going to be released of this year, so just this month. Family members of the murdered woman were left in total disbelief and shock. The wound of losing their loved ones was being reopened far sooner than they expected. Another shock to the families was how they found out about the release. Instead of being contacted directly, they found out on social media. They said this was just another slap in the face. On November 13th, family, friends, and supporters, over 100 people strong, turned out to rally for justice after authorities approved the early release of Sean Lamb. He only served 13 years for murdering at least 2 women, one of which was pregnant. It is suspected that Tania's remains are in the Brady landfill, which is, for people not from here, it's like our big landfill for Winnipeg.
Yeah.
A search is expected to commence in the coming months. Tracy and Carolyn were second cousins, leaving a family with an unimaginable heartbreak. The remains of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron were found in Prairie Green landfill. Earlier this year, were both victims of another serial killer, Jeremy Skibicki, who was targeting Indigenous women. Sean is required to spend at least 6 months at a designated facility as part of his conditions of release, but no information has been released as to where he will be living, other than it's not going to be in Manitoba. He was serving his sentence in Ontario, so I'm assuming that he'll be living in Ontario.
Why wouldn't they just send him to Stony?
Probably because they didn't have room. I don't know.
What a fucking joke. Did they say why they're letting this fucker out?
Because he served 2/3 of his sentence. So he was
Just
initially...
let him serve the last third. What the fuck?
I know. Like he... And they
Oh my
they even said
God.
like that he's an imminent threat to the public.
Then why the fuck would you let him out?
It's called statutory release. So like if you serve 2/3 of your sentence, which is like, okay, then don't even bother giving, like either don't have statutory release or don't give
Don't
20
give
years and
20
then say
years.
13 is good enough.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Wab Canoe, our Manitoba premier, responded to Sean's release by saying, "This is not justice.
No, it's a fucking outrage.
How does this help victims' family members heal and feel secure in the community? How does this help foster a feeling that our justice system actually delivers justice?" Which, spoiler alert, it doesn't.
What a fucking joke.
Wab said that he was going to be writing the Prime Minister Mark Carney a letter confronting the justice system and systematic issues. But he said that he planned on addressing several concerns, including parole, statutory release, and sentencing, stating that if someone takes a life, they need to be held accountable.
Attaboy, Wob.
Yeah, so that's that. It's a short one, but I just wanted to give attention to what's been going on because I've seen it a lot on social media. And like I said, I had no idea that he had such a long criminal history. Like the fact that Tania wasn't, like, it didn't really seem like she was into drugs. And both the times he's saying that like he was doing drugs with these women and then this happened, but they didn't find drugs in their system, just like,
yeah, go fuck yourself,
makes me feel so sus that that's not really what happened, and he's just blaming...
It wasn't manslaughter. He
just
fucking
blaming the
wanted to
drugs.
kill those women.
Yeah. Crazy.
That is like, okay, I believe in reform. In some cases, I believe in reform. Clearly, it's not fucking working. Leave him locked up. There's no point in him being out.
Yeah, like he's literally spent...
Or just fucking kill the guy.
He's literally
just give him the chair.
His entire adult life in and out of prison for being violent.
Why the fuck would we ever let him out? Yeah. Send him to the States. Send him to fucking Guantanamo Bay. Yeah. Like, the guy doesn't need to be out and about.
They all just need to be on an island together.
Like, what the fuck?
I just can't imagine being like those girls' family and finding out that he had such a long criminal history and then being like, why was this guy allowed to even meet my child?
Yeah. That really reminds me of that fucking... it was probably like 2 months ago. Do you remember that video on the train in New York?
Yeah,
that tourist who got stabbed in it. That guy was...
I don't think she was a tourist. I think she
wasn't from New York. She was from fucking Europe.
No, she was from the Ukraine.
Yeah.
But she was I think she was in the States, like, as a refuge.
Oh, I thought she was visiting.
No, I think she was there as a refugee,
Oh, fuck.
which is
And
even
he was
worse.
in and out of. He had like 9 cases of aggravated assault.
Yeah.
And he's out of fucking prison.
Very, like, schizophrenic.
Like,
but even this, it's like there must be like some sort of mental illness with this guy because
yeah, he fucking smokes crack.
yeah, there is that. Well, I'm sure he's on the meth now.
Yeah, like.
And like the thing is too, like the thing that bothers me about like people being like, oh well, they behaved in prison. It's like, yeah,
There's no one to fucking kill in prison.
well there is, but not Indigenous women.
Yeah.
And it's like
Their target isn't in prison. And there's no
Yeah.
meth in prison. There probably is. But
yeah, it's like, oh no, there definitely is. It's like when people are like, well,
not
this
as easy.
pedophile didn't do anything to kids when he was in prison. Yeah,
no shit.
No shit.
Do you know what happens in Eastern countries when you steal?
What happens?
They take your fucking hands.
Yeah, I think
You know what
they
you
should
can't
take
do?
off the D's.
You know what you can't do twice in an Eastern country?
Steal.
Fucking steal.
Yeah.
Like, hold them accountable. Holy fuck.
Yeah, I know. Like, I was obviously like very upset when I first read that he was being released, but then looking into it more, I was like, what the
like,
fuck?
Who thought that was a good idea?
Yeah. So we'll see who he kills next, I guess.
Yeah. Newsflash.
I'm sure part 2 will be coming
fucking,
soon.
Yeah.
Like
6 months later, oh, he killed another person. Now he's in jail again. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, crazy. No one saw that coming.
Fucking idiots, people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's that. That's that on that.
Wow. Well, stay spooky, True Northers.
Terror is closer than you think.
That's some bullshit.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of True North Terror. If you like our podcast, please help us grow by leaving a rating and review. If you have a story you want us to hear, or your own personal story you want to hear on the pod as a listener story, email us at truenorthterrorpod@gmail.com. Join us next week for another episode of True North Terror.